anyways, the Neshamah, the spiritual soul or the higher self. And this is what we're going to get into next, because I made a which is the higher self, the spiritual soul, because I made videos talking about, you know, the names and the holy, like different, like all the different stuff that we're talking about. And when it comes to Kabbalistic magic and tarot, well, the tarot is a part of it, you know, the proper tarot, not the other shit, but the you know, the Kamiyas and all that stuff. All this ties in because all the different aspects of yourself is imbued in this magic, you know, and you know what I'm saying? And I see that the work that I'm doing is like, it's totally like all the, like it's one dude that was, and this still all ties in because they're not teaching this. It's one dude and he doesn't even teach it anymore. He was pretending to work with like the 72 King Solomon and all this stuff, you know. Now he's like a little feminine boy. You know what I mean? Like now he's like, you know, a little feminine boy. It's like, damn, dude, what happened? But that's what happens, man. You know what I mean? If you don't respect this work, you know what I mean? The very spirits you pretend to work with laughing in your face. You know what I mean? And the reason why I said that is because I did a video on the names and different stuff like that. Oh boy, these evil people hate the names, especially, you know, the Tetragrammaton and all the other stuff. Like, because it I don't know, it's just the right way to do it. You know what I mean? It's just a proper way to do it because you're signaling to these beings that are real that you respect this work, man, and you respect yourself. And, you know, little feminine boy, he was saying stuff like, you know, yeah, y'all know how I be talking to these weird lame-o people on here. So he was referencing that towards like how that is more powerful than the magic I do, because the emotion I'm using. But of course he was saying it's subliminal. The words in those, you say the words in that book is not going to yield results. And then he was mentioning like, you know, when you say pussy ass bitch is more powerful than the words in those books, because emotion, no. See, let me break something down to you. When it comes to the Nephesh and the Neshamah and the Ruach, when it comes to that, when you say those words, because see what I'm saying, you can say it in the most mundane way. But if you're on the inside, your Nephesh, your Neshamah, and your Ruach is pure and is clean, and you have a good Kavanah, which we're going to get back into that, the Kavanah, good intention, it will manifest. You get results. You will go through the trials of the Elohim or the gods. You see what I'm saying? That's what this work is. You see what I'm saying? And that's what that's what we're talking about here. You see what I'm saying? But somebody that doesn't understand these basic principles, but pretending to teach you magic. Yeah. You know, but as a man on a spiritual path, you're supposed to, you know, have a goddess. You know, I don't know what, you know, a goddess like Oshun or Hecate will want with a man with a fluffy ass chair, a chair that's fluffier than hers. You know what I mean? Anyways, playing Fortnite while your baby mama got your child and shit. But anyways, the Neshamah. But we're gonna get into all that stuff when it comes to the evil urge or the Yetzer, or the what is it? The Yetzer Ha Ra, the Yetzer Hara. So yeah. So the Neshamah or the soul means spirit or breath. The Neshamah is the part of our soul that is high, that is concealed and unattainable for the ordinary man, and even for the seeker on the spiritual path finds it the most difficult to access. This is so because it is not a part of our incarnate personality, but it is instead part of our immortal soul that dwells in the higher regions. It nevertheless influences our life once we purify our personality to such a degree that we are ready to receive its influence. The Neshamah rules over Ruach and Nephesh, for the higher always rules over the lower. It guides us through our life and our spiritual work. It is higher aspect in its higher aspects, it gives us wisdom and inspires us with awe of Elohim. In its lower aspects, it gives us understanding and inspires in us repentance or teshuvah. The Neshamah dominates our self. We become totally devoted to Elohim according to the Zohar. This is the definition of a holy man. In fact, to make the Neshamah the dominant influence in your life and be guided by its wisdom is the central goal of all spiritual work. Why is it so difficult to become aware of the Neshamah? Let me explain with an analogy. Imagine you are in a beautiful forest with a radio playing at full volume. Due to the radio, you cannot hear the bird's song. This does not, however, mean the birds, are not there. Once you silence your worldly and selfish craving for entertainment, symbolized by the radio, you will be able to hear the beautiful singing of the birds, symbolizing by the higher self. And that's important too, man. You know, when it comes to different stuff, it's like even in spirituality, it's like y'all listening to the radio, you know, pretending you're listening to the birds, with, like, you know, giving the analogy, you know, giving the analogy here, you know, I mean, once again, frequency, vibration, chakra, you know, going back to what I was saying about the whole, you know, dude talking about, you know, the left brain, you're cutting off that, you know, just saying stuff, you know what I mean? For the camera, for YouTube, for the views, for the, you see what I'm saying? But, you know, you're still saying it's your, you know, these people saying, oh, it's higher self, but you're not even in the Neshamah. You're not even in the Ruach. And matter of fact, you're not even in the lower self, the Nephesh, because the Nephesh is even holy too. The Nephesh can be holy. You know what I mean? You're just listening to, once again, entertainment, like it says in here. The terminology of the Zohar indicates that a man gains a certain soul at a certain point, at a specific point in his spiritual development. So yes, the soul can be developed when it on earth. That's why I say, once again, your soul can't chose this. You didn't choose this. Your soul did. You're not a spiritual being having a human experience. You're a human here trying to discover your soul. You get what I'm saying? Now, all that fancy stuff, man. But once again, it's the radio playing in the forest. I'm a spiritual being here having a human experience. It's like, what? No, you're a human saying human things, pretending to have spiritual experiences. While your soul, but that doesn't mean your soul is there if you have one. Just a little side note: gang stalking people don't have souls. If you're a part of, just a side note, if you're a part of that program, or like on the other side of it, and you're being watched by these creeps, they're just soulless people. They don't have souls. They try to see. This is my experience, and this is all tied in. They want a piece of your light. Once again, solar, phallic energy, light. The sun, the soul, all that stuff. They want a piece of your light that's within you. So if they see them mimicking you, trying to get your attention and shit like that, they want what's inside of you, whether they consciously know it or not. And some of them have disembodied spirits behind them that try to leech off of your light. And when people are indeed very rare, the Zohar calls them the ones who have attained contact to the Neshamah and are dominated by his influence. Yes, these type of people are very rare, and this is the type of person you want to whether you're male or female, you want to become this type of person. Let me read that again. Such people are. Hold on. What does it say again? There are a few. Yeah, here it is. There are a few who are led by reason, but even fewer who are led by wisdom, altruistic love, awe of Elohim, and the selfless desire to serve the light. Such people are indeed very rare. The Zohar calls them the ones who have attained contact to the Neshamah and are dominated by its influence. And once again, your material, like I said in the other joint, man, your material gains or what you have don't have that. You know what I mean? Don't mean that. Doesn't mean that. You see what I'm saying? You know, like old dude, wannabe Nazir Ra. I hate calling them what they pretend they are. He should call himself, oh, that's perfect for you. Hey, dude, Nazirah, it's perfect for you, man. Yetzer Hara. You should call yourself Yetzer Hara, the evil urge. That's your name, son. That's your new name, son. That's his name, the Yetzer Hara. Like he talks about, if you're listening to different ones who out there supposed to be teaching and they don't have this, they don't have that, they don't have this and that, and it's like this. You can learn something from anybody. Tell that to Kuan Yin. You have to have $1 million in this work. Tell that to what I mean. Nothing wrong with that, but him saying that, it obviously shows, there's no. He's not basically one of the people who have a selfless desire to serve the light. You know what I mean? Altruistic love of God, and is led by wisdom, because a wise man wouldn't say shit like that. But basically, once again, the ego. Once again, that's perfect. That's perfect. See what I'm saying? That is very perfect. Going back to what it said about the intellect, like the one who thinks his intellect, one who thinks he's just holy because of his intellect. Yeah, you think you're just holy by how much money you got in your pocket, by how much. You see what I'm saying? That's why I like living that Tyler Durden lifestyle, boy. That's how a real man should fucking live, man. You know what I mean? But I ain't gonna get into that shit. You know what I mean? With these beta life, bitch ass, dick suck ass little men out here. Little boys, I mean. You can't even call them little boys. That's why I call them bitches. Because a boy, he goes on. A little boy, he goes on an adventure. A little boy, he's more connected to his Neshamah.